Act as if you are the best. No one is better than you. Stoic philosophy. Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Have you ever stayed in a relationship, romantic or otherwise, because you thought, if they just changed this one thing, everything would be perfect? I know I have, and let me tell you, it's a slippery slope. Today, we're diving deep into a Stoic approach to relationships, pulling from ancient wisdom to help us navigate the messy, beautiful world of human connection. This isn't about quick fixes or cutting everyone out of your life. It's about building relationships that lift you up, align with your values, and bring you peace. So, grab a notebook, maybe a cup of coffee, and let's explore how Stoicism can transform the way you connect with others. If you're ready to choose relationships that truly serve your growth, stick around. This one's for you. Let's get started. First, let's dive into something that can feel uncomfortable but is absolutely essential. Seeing relationships as they really are, not as we wish they'd be. Relationships have this sneaky way of becoming a playground for illusions, don't they? You might catch yourself idealizing someone, painting them in your mind as this perfect version, someone they could become if only a few things changed. Maybe you're overlooking red flags, convincing yourself everything's okay when deep down, you know it's not. Or perhaps you're holding on to this fantasy of potential, thinking, if they just got their act together, we'd have it all. I've been right there with you. I once lingered in a relationship far longer than I should have, completely tangled up in what I thought my partner could be. I'd replay scenarios in my head. If they just communicated a bit more, or put in some real effort, we'd be unstoppable. It was like I was betting on a future that didn't exist, ignoring the present reality. But here's the tough love Stoicism brought into my life. People show up as who they are, not as who you hope they'll turn into. Facing that truth hit me like a ton of bricks. It stung, it hurt, and for a while, it left me questioning everything. Yet, in that pain I found freedom. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, were masters at cutting through the haze with clarity. Marcus would urge you to look at life with unclouded eyes, while Epictetus would remind you that your peace depends on accepting what is, not what might be. They'd encourage you to examine your relationships with brutal honesty. Are you clinging to a dream that's floating in thin air, disconnected from how things actually are? Are you turning a blind eye to patterns, like constant disrespect, unreliability, or a lack of effort, that reveal the real dynamics at play? This isn't a comfortable exercise, I'll admit. It takes guts to peel back the layers and see the truth, especially when you've invested so much emotionally. But it's the first critical step toward building connections that are authentic, grounded, and truly meaningful. Let's break this down a bit. When we idealize, we're often protecting ourselves from the pain of letting go or admitting we've been wrong. I did that. I held on to hope because the alternative felt like failure. But Stoicism taught me that letting go of illusions isn't defeat, it's a victory for your own well-being. Think about those red flags you might be brushing off. Maybe it's someone who's always late, leaving you feeling unimportant, or someone who dismisses your feelings, making you question your worth. These aren't one-off mistakes, they're signals. Epictetus would say, don't let your mind trick you into seeing what isn't there. Instead, observe the behavior, the actions, the consistent patterns, and let that guide you. So, let's do this together. Take a moment. Picture one relationship in your life right now. It could be a friend, a partner, a family member, anyone who's been on your mind. Ask yourself, am I seeing this person as they truly are, or am I holding on to a version of them I hope they'll become? Be brutally honest with yourself. Write it down if it helps. Get it out of your head and onto paper. This isn't about judging them, it's about understanding where you stand. That clarity might sting at first, but it's the foundation for change. It might show you where to invest more effort, where to set boundaries, or even where to walk away. For me, that moment of truth was a turning point. It freed me to seek relationships that matched my reality, not my fantasies. And that's where the real growth begins. So, what do you see when you look with honest eyes? Let's take that step together. It might just change everything. Now, let's zero in on something that's absolutely non-negotiable: your values. The Stoics saw your values as more than just preferences. They're like a compass, a guiding star that directs every step of your life. Living with integrity, they believed, means holding tight to those principles, no matter what storms come your way. So, when a relationship starts pushing you to compromise what you hold dear, it's not just a minor hiccup, it's a blazing red flag waving in your face. This can show up in subtle ways, like going along with a white lie or a shady comment just to avoid rocking the boat, or it might be something bigger, like letting someone pressure you into ignoring your sense of fairness or justice. Either way, every time you bend those core beliefs, you're not just adjusting, you're chipping away at the very essence of who you are. And let me tell you, that leaves a hollow, unsettling feeling deep inside. I learned this the hard way. I had a friend who was obsessed with gossip. It was their go-to move, always spilling the latest dirt on everyone we knew. Now, I value kindness above a lot of things, so this clashed with me big time. At first, I went along with it, laughing at the snarky remarks to fit in and keep the peace. But inside, I felt like a fraud. Every chuckle felt like a betrayal of my own principles, leaving me empty and disconnected from myself. It was like I was wearing a mask, pretending to be someone I wasn't just to stay in their good graces. Marcus Aurelius, that wise Stoic emperor, would have looked at me and said, "Stop that, stay true to who you are." And he'd be spot on. Relationships aren't supposed to pull you away from your values. They should reinforce them, lift them up, and help you thrive as the person you want to be. When they start challenging you to the point where you feel like a stranger in your own skin, that's a sign something's off. Let's dig into this a bit more. Your values, whether it's honesty, courage, loyalty, or compassion, are the foundation of your identity. They're what keep you steady when life gets chaotic. So, if a relationship is asking you to trade those for approval or convenience, it's eroding that foundation. Maybe it's a partner who pressures you to skip out on a commitment you care about, or a friend who drags you into drama that goes against your peace. Each compromise might seem small, but over time, it builds into a disconnect that can leave you questioning who you've become. I remember feeling that with my gossip-loving friend. Every time I played along, I'd walk away feeling less like myself, more like a shadow of who I wanted to be. So, let's take a moment to reflect together. Think about the connections in your life right now. Is there someone, or maybe a group, pushing you to act against your values? Maybe it's subtle, like laughing at a joke that stings your sense of kindness, or more overt, like being coerced into something that feels wrong. Ask yourself, am I staying true to who I am in this relationship, or am I bending to fit someone else's mold? If it's the latter, it might be time to act. Start with a conversation. Lay out how you feel, explain what matters to you, and see if they're willing to meet you there. Setting boundaries can be a powerful next step, letting them know what you will and won't tolerate. I tried this with my friend, gently saying I wasn't comfortable with the gossip, and while it didn't change them overnight, it gave me a way to protect my values. But here's the thing, if that conversation doesn't shift things, and the pressure keeps coming, walking away isn't a defeat, it's an act of courage. It's you choosing to honor your identity over someone else's expectations. For me, distancing myself from that friend was tough, but it freed me to surround myself with people who respected my kindness. That's not failure, that's strength. You're not abandoning them, you're reclaiming yourself. So, take a deep breath and think, where in your life are you compromising your values? What's one step you can take today, whether it's a talk, a boundary, or a goodbye, to stay true to your compass? That's everything, and it's worth fighting for. Let's dive deeper into the concept of balance in relationships, because at their core, they should feel like a two-way street, a mutual exchange of care and respect. The beauty of a healthy relationship, whether it's with a friend, partner, or family member, lies in the harmony of giving and receiving support. Both sides show up, not just when it's convenient, but when it matters. This reciprocity creates trust, strengthens bonds, and fosters a sense of being truly valued. But what happens when that balance tips, when the scales are skewed, and you find yourself in a one-sided dynamic? When you're always the one giving, your time, energy, love, or support, and the other person is just taking, it disrupts that harmony. It's not just exhausting, it can erode your sense of self-worth and leave you feeling resentful, drained, or even invisible. The Stoics, with their emphasis on mutual respect and living in accordance with virtue, would argue that relationships should reflect balance and fairness. They'd caution against pouring yourself into connections that leave you depleted. If you're constantly showing up for someone, offering a listening ear, helping with their problems, or being their rock, while they rarely reciprocate, that's a signal something's off. I experienced this firsthand with a friend who only reached out when they needed something. Whether it was a vent session about their latest drama, a favor, or advice, I'd drop everything to be there. I genuinely cared and wanted to support them. But when I needed someone to lean on, They were suddenly too busy or nowhere to be found. It stung deeply. Over time, I started feeling like a resource rather than a valued friend. That realization hit hard, and it made me question whether I was truly seen in that relationship. The Stoics would encourage us to seek balance and approach such situations with clarity and self-respect. If you're in a similar spot, one practical step is to initiate an honest conversation. Be clear about what you need and express how the imbalance feels. I tried this with my friend, laying out how their absence when I needed support made me feel. It wasn't easy, and it didn't magically fix everything, but it gave me clarity. Their response, or lack thereof, showed me where I stood. Sometimes, though, the imbalance persists despite your efforts. That's when you have to ask the tough question: is this relationship worth my energy? The Stoics would remind us that we can't control others, only our own actions and choices. If someone consistently takes without giving, it might be time to set boundaries or even step back. You deserve relationships where both sides are lifting each other up, where you feel seen, valued, and respected. Reflect on your connections. Do they feel balanced, or are you carrying the load alone? Are there relationships where you're giving more than you're receiving, or perhaps where you could step up for someone else? Balance isn't about keeping score, it's about mutual effort and care. As we move forward, let's prioritize connections that nourish us as much as we nourish them, creating space for relationships that truly thrive on reciprocity and respect. Recognizing and addressing abuse in relationships. Abuse in any form, physical, emotional, verbal, or psychological, is an unmistakable signal that a relationship is toxic and unsustainable. It's not just a red flag, it's a non-negotiable deal-breaker that demands immediate action. Stoicism, with its emphasis on dignity, self-respect, and living in alignment with virtue, leaves no room for tolerating abuse. No one deserves to be diminished, controlled, or hurt, and staying in such a situation erodes the very core of your worth. If you're caught in an abusive dynamic, hear this clearly. It's not your fault, you're not alone, and you have the strength to reclaim your life. Abuse can be insidious, especially in its non-physical forms. Emotional or psychological abuse, like constant belittling, gaslighting, or manipulation, can chip away at your confidence and sense of reality. Verbal abuse, with its barrage of insults or demeaning language, can leave lasting scars. Physical abuse, of course, poses immediate danger and is never justifiable. I knew someone who was trapped in an emotionally abusive relationship. Their partner's relentless criticism, guilt-tripping, and control tactics left them doubting their worth. They clung to the hope that things would improve, making excuses for their partner's behavior, but the abuse only escalated. It was heartbreaking to watch them struggle, but their journey out was inspiring. With the support of a therapist and trusted friends, they found the courage to leave. Seeing them rediscover their dignity and begin healing was a powerful testament to the Stoic principle of prioritizing self-respect. If this resonates with you, please don't stay silent or isolated. Abuse thrives in secrecy, and breaking that silence is a vital first step. Reach out to someone you trust, a friend, family member, or colleague, who can offer support or perspective. Professional resources, like therapists or counselors, can provide guidance tailored to your situation. In the U.S., the National Domestic Violence Hotline 1-800-799-7233 or text START to 88788 offers confidential support 24/7 with resources for safety planning and local services. If you're in immediate danger, call emergency services without hesitation. You are not obligated to stay in a place that tears you down, and leaving doesn't mean weakness, it's an act of profound strength. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control: our actions, our choices, and our commitment to our own worth. Protecting yourself from abuse aligns with this philosophy. It's about recognizing that you deserve a life free from fear, shame, or harm. Healing from abuse takes time, and that's okay. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, seek professional support if needed, and take small steps toward rebuilding your confidence. Every move you make toward safety and self-respect is a victory. Let's hold space for this truth. You are worthy of relationships that honor your dignity. You deserve better than abuse, and there's immense power in choosing yourself. Reflect on your situation. Are there signs of abuse you've overlooked? If so, take that first step, however small, toward safety and healing. You're not alone, and a brighter, safer future is within your reach. Communication, it's the heartbeat of any relationship, isn't it? When it's flowing smoothly, everything feels vibrant, like you're in sync with the people who matter most. Conversations spark joy, understanding deepens, and you feel connected on a whole new level. But when that flow breaks down, it's like a warning sign flashing that something deeper is off balance. The Stoics, with their timeless wisdom, placed huge emphasis on clear, honest communication. They saw it as a way to bridge gaps, using reason to cut through the noise and empathy to build trust. If you find yourself trapped in a cycle where talks go in circles, misunderstandings stack up like bricks, or you can't seem to find common ground no matter how hard you try, it's time to pause and take a hard look at what's really going on. This isn't just about petty arguments. It's a signal that the foundation might need some serious attention. I've been there myself. I had a friend who'd completely shut down whenever I brought up something important. I'd try to address a concern or share how I felt, and they'd just go silent, leaving me stranded, guessing at what was wrong or what they needed. It was frustrating, like talking to a wall, and it left me feeling disconnected and unsure. Or maybe you've experienced someone who twists your words, turning a simple chat into a full-blown fight, where every sentence gets misinterpreted and suddenly you're on the defensive. It's exhausting, right? Marcus Aurelius, that wise Stoic thinker, would encourage us to step back from the heat of the moment. He'd say, look at this objectively, like an outsider observing the scene, and approach it with a heart full of empathy. Instead of jumping to react, try really listening. Don't just wait for your chance to jump in, but truly hear what they're saying, what's behind their words. Then, when it's your turn, share your needs clearly and respectfully, laying out your thoughts without blame or aggression. I decided to give this a shot with my friend. I slowed down, listened to their silences as much as their words, and then expressed my need for open dialogue in a calm, kind way. It didn't magically fix everything. Turns out, they weren't ready or able to meet me at that level of communication, and that revelation was eye-opening. It showed me the real issue wasn't my approach, but their unwillingness to engage. If you've tried this too, if you've listened, spoken with clarity, and still find the disconnect lingering, it might be a sign the relationship isn't sustainable in its current form. Healthy connections don't thrive on constant guesswork or one-sided effort. They flourish when both sides can understand and be understood. The Stoics would remind us that communication is a two-way street, and if that road keeps crumbling, it's worth reevaluating. So, let's put this into action together. Think about a relationship where communication feels off. Maybe it's a partner who dodges tough talks, a friend who misreads your intentions, or a family member stuck in a loop of arguments. How can you approach it today with more clarity and empathy? Maybe start by asking a question to understand their perspective, like, "Can you help me see where you're coming from?" Then, share your side with honesty, saying something like, "I feel disconnected when we don't talk this out. Can we work on that together?" It's not about forcing a solution, but opening a door. If that door stays shut after your efforts, reflect on what that means. Is this a temporary rough patch, or a deeper mismatch? The Stoic path is about facing reality with courage, using communication as a tool to build or, when necessary, to let go. What's one step you can take today to bring more understanding into that relationship? Let's figure it out together. It could be the shift you've been waiting for. Let's shift gears to something we all chase after, something that feels like a rare treasure in today's chaotic world: peace. Stoicism puts tranquility right at the heart of what it means to live a good life, that deep, unshakable calm that holds steady no matter what storms swirl around you. It's not just the absence of noise, it's an inner strength that keeps you grounded, even when everything else is falling apart. But here's the thing: if a relationship is constantly knocking you off balance, leaving you stressed, anxious, or unsettled, that's a glaring red flag you can't ignore. Relationships should be anchors of strength and wellsprings of joy, places where you feel uplifted and supported, not tempests that disrupt your hard-won calm and leave you reeling. I've lived this lesson firsthand. I once had a colleague who was like a walking tornado, always tangled up in drama, gossip, or some fresh conflict that seemed to erupt out of nowhere. Every time we interacted, it felt like I'd been dragged onto a roller coaster I never signed up for. My heart racing, my mind spinning, and my peace shattered into pieces. It wasn't just the occasional disagreement, it was a relentless cycle that left me drained and on edge. Stoicism stepped in as my guide, prompting me to pause and reflect. Why is this person's chaos messing with my tranquility? Is there something I can do to change this dynamic? I started by setting boundaries, keeping our exchanges strictly professional, avoiding their gossip traps, and steering clear of their whirlwind whenever possible. I hoped that would create a buffer, a safe space for my calm to return. But the drama kept rolling in, like an unstoppable force, and no amount of boundary setting seemed to tame it. In the end, I had to make the tough call to distance myself completely. And let me tell you, when I did, my peace came rushing back like a soothing wave washing over me, quiet, steady, and rejuvenating. It was proof that protecting your tranquility isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. So, let's bring this home. Ask yourself, does this relationship in my life support my inner calm, or does it throw me off course? Take a moment to think about the connections that fill your days, whether it's a friend, a partner, a family member, or even a coworker. Do they bring you a sense of stability and joy, or do they leave you feeling tense, unsettled, or emotionally exhausted? If it's the latter, that's your cue to act. Stoicism teaches us that we can't control others, but we can control how we respond. Maybe the first step is a conversation, laying out how their actions affect you and asking for a change. Or it might mean setting firmer boundaries, like limiting contact or redirecting topics away from conflict. If those efforts don't shift the dynamic, and the storm keeps raging, stepping away might be the bravest choice you can make. It's not about cutting people off lightly, it's about honoring your need for peace, creating space for relationships that feel like a safe harbor instead of a hurricane. You deserve that tranquility, that sanctuary where you can breathe easy and thrive. Reflect on this. What's one relationship that's disrupting your calm right now? What can you do, today, even, to protect your peace? Maybe it's a small boundary, like saying no to a draining chat, or a bigger move, like reevaluating your time with that person. The Stoics would encourage you to prioritize your inner world, to build a life where your relationships enhance your strength, not sap it. For me, stepping away from that colleague opened the door to connections that felt nourishing, and I've never looked back. Let's take this journey together. Identify that one step, take it, and watch how your tranquility starts to bloom. Alright, now that we've explored the key signs to watch for in your relationships, let's take it a step further and build a Stoic toolkit, a set of practical, actionable steps you can start using today to assess, improve, or even let go of connections that aren't serving your growth or peace. This isn't about achieving some flawless ideal or judging every relationship harshly. It's about making intentional choices that align with who you are and where you want to go. Stoicism is all about living with purpose, and this toolkit will help you do just that. So, let's break it down and create a roadmap you can follow. First up, pause and reflect. When a relationship starts feeling off, maybe it's leaving you drained or uneasy, don't just barrel through it like nothing's wrong. Stop. Take a beat. Ask yourself some big questions. Is this connection helping me grow as a person? Is it bringing me a sense of peace? Does it line up with the values I hold dear? This isn't about overanalyzing every little thing, it's about checking in with your gut. Journaling can be a game changer here. Grab a notebook or your phone and write down your thoughts. Get it all out, the good, the bad, the confusing. Seeing your feelings on paper can clarify what's really going on, cutting through the noise to reveal the truth. Next, face reality head-on. This is where the Stoic courage kicks in. Look at the relationship for what it actually is, not the rosy picture you might wish it could be. Are you ignoring red flags because you're clinging to hope, like thinking someone will change if you just wait long enough? Be brutally honest with yourself. Take that journal and list the facts, their actions, their words, the patterns you've noticed. Leave out the fantasies or what-ifs. Focus on the concrete reality. This step can be tough, especially if it means letting go of a dream you've held onto, but it's the foundation for making smart, grounded decisions. Third, communicate with clarity. If something's not working, don't let it fester. Talk about it. Approach the conversation with honesty, but temper it with respect and empathy. Share what you need in a way that's clear and direct, like, I feel disconnected when we don't talk openly. Can we work on that? Then, really listen to their side, giving them space to express themselves. It's incredible how much a single, well-handled conversation can reveal, whether it opens the door to improvement or shows you where the real issues lie. Fourth, set boundaries. Protecting your energy and values is a non-negotiable part of self-respect. Decide what you're willing to accept and what you're not, then communicate those limits clearly. Saying no to what doesn't serve you, whether it's toxic behavior or draining demands, isn't selfish, it's a powerful act of honoring yourself. Maybe it's limiting how often you engage with someone, or steering clear of certain topics that spark conflict. Fifth, seek balance. Take a hard look at whether the relationship feels mutual. Are you both giving and receiving support, or is it all one-sided, with you doing the heavy lifting? If it's uneven, bring it up. Say, "I've noticed I'm always the one reaching out. Can we find a better balance?" If that doesn't shift the dynamic, it might be a sign to rethink the connection's place in your life. Sixth, honor your values. Never bend your core principles, whether it's honesty, kindness, or justice, just to keep someone around. Relationships should mirror who you are, not pull you into a version of yourself that feels foreign. If you're compromising your integrity, it's time to reassess. Seventh, protect your dignity. If there's any form of abuse, physical, emotional, verbal, or psychological, put yourself first. This is a hard stop. Seek help from friends, family, or professionals like the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and take steps to walk away. You deserve respect and safety, always. Eighth, cultivate tranquility. Surround yourself with people who nurture your inner calm, not those who stir up chaos. Let go of relationships that disrupt your peace, and make room for joy and stability. Ninth, reflect daily. At the end of each day, take 5 minutes to journal. Did my relationships lift me up today? Where can I improve? This builds self-awareness, keeps you intentional, and helps you track your progress over time. Finally, seek support. If letting go or navigating a tough dynamic feels overwhelming, don't go it alone. Lean on trusted friends, family, or even a therapist. You don't have to carry the weight by yourself. There's strength in asking for help. These steps aren't a one-size-fits-all fix. They're a framework to adapt as needed. Start small, pick one to try today, and watch how it shifts your relationships toward growth and peace. You've got this. Let's bring this Stoic journey to life with a couple of real stories that show how these principles can play out in the messy, beautiful world of relationships. First, meet Sarah, a close friend of mine who found herself tangled in a relationship that was slowly draining the life out of her. On the surface, her partner seemed like a dream. Charming, charismatic, the kind of person who could light up a room and win over anyone with a smile. But beneath that charm was a controlling streak that crept in over time. He'd discourage her from chasing the passions that made her heart sing, like her deep love for painting vibrant canvases or dreaming about far-off travels, telling her she should focus on practical things instead, like staying home or sticking to a rigid routine. At first, Sarah brushed it off, thinking it was just his way of caring, but slowly, she started to dim her own light, molding herself to fit his expectations. She stopped picking up her paintbrushes, shelved her travel plans, and began to feel like a shadow of the vibrant woman she used to be. It was a gradual loss, one she didn't fully notice until she was deep in it. But then Stoicism stepped in as her guide. Through reflection and the wisdom of the Stoics, Sarah began to see the truth with clear eyes. This wasn't love, it was manipulation, a subtle erosion of her autonomy disguised as concern. Marcus Aurelius would have urged her to look at the situation objectively, to ask herself what was really happening, while Epictetus might have reminded her that she controls her response, not his actions. She took that advice to heart, sitting down with her thoughts to reflect on her values: freedom, creativity, self-expression. That reflection was a turning point. She realized she deserved a relationship that lifted her up, not one that boxed her in. It wasn't an easy decision. Ending it meant facing tough emotions, guilt, fear, even loneliness, but she found the courage to walk away, honoring her worth over his control. The aftermath wasn't instant magic, but it was transformative. Letting go gave Sarah the space to reclaim her autonomy, to rediscover the parts of herself she'd buried. She picked up her paintbrushes again, filling canvases with bold colors that mirrored her renewed spirit. She booked that solo trip she'd always dreamed of, exploring new cities with a sense of freedom she hadn't felt in years. Today, Sarah's thriving in a way that's hard to miss. Her laughter is brighter, her confidence radiates, and there's this deep peace that seems to glow from within her. She told me recently that stepping away wasn't just about leaving a person, it was about coming back to herself. It's a powerful reminder of what Stoicism teaches. When a relationship drains your spirit, letting go isn't defeat, it's a bold act of self-respect that paves the way for growth. So, think about Sarah's story. Have you ever felt yourself dimming to fit someone else's mold? Her journey shows that with reflection and courage, you can reclaim your light. Let's carry that lesson forward. Your peace and autonomy are worth fighting for. Now, let's turn to another story that brings these Stoic principles to life. Meet Mike, a guy who had a childhood friend he absolutely adored. These two were inseparable growing up. Think endless summer days, shared secrets, and the kind of laughter that makes your sides ache. They had years of memories, the kind that feel like they'll last forever, anchoring their bond in a deep sense of history. But as time passed, things started to shift in a way Mike didn't expect. His friend began to change, slipping into a pattern of negativity that seemed to grow stronger with each passing year. What started as occasional grumbling turned into a constant stream of dismissive remarks and snarky comments that cut Mike down at every turn. A simple, "Hey, I'm thinking of applying for this job," would be met with, "You? Good luck with that," paired with a scoff that stung more than Mike wanted to admit. At first, he brushed it off, telling himself his friend was just going through a rough patch. He kept holding on to hope that they'd somehow return to the good old days, those golden moments when their friendship felt like a safe haven. But Stoicism came into Mike's life like a quiet mentor, encouraging him to reflect with clarity. He started to ask the hard questions the Stoics, like Epictetus, would pose. Am I seeing this relationship as it truly is, or am I clinging to what it used to be? Through journaling and honest introspection, Mike realized he was holding on to a memory, not the reality staring him in the face. His friend's negativity wasn't a phase, it was a pattern, one that was dragging Mike down, making him feel small and unsupported. So, he decided to take action. Following Stoic wisdom, he initiated an honest conversation, approaching it with kindness but firmness. "I've been feeling hurt by the way you talk to me lately," he said, "and I'd love for us to work on this." He also set clear boundaries, explaining he wouldn't engage in conversations that left him feeling diminished. But despite his efforts, nothing changed. His friend brushed off the talk, doubling down on the sarcasm instead of meeting Mike halfway. That's when Mike made the tough but necessary choice to let go. It wasn't with anger or bitterness. He didn't storm off or cut ties in a dramatic huff. Instead, he released the friendship with gratitude for their shared past, thanking his friend in his heart for the memories they'd created together. Letting go in this way was an act of self-respect, a Stoic move to prioritize his own growth and peace. And the result? Mike's life transformed. Now, he's surrounded by new friends who lift him up, who celebrate his wins and support his dreams without a hint of negativity. He's happier than ever, with a lightness in his step that comes from being around people who truly align with his values. These stories, Sarah's and Mike's, show us something powerful. Letting go isn't giving up. It's choosing yourself, making space for connections that nurture your growth and bring you tranquility. Mike's journey reminds us that holding on to the past can blind us to the present, but with Stoic clarity, we can release what no longer serves us and invite in relationships that help us thrive. Reflect on this. Is there a connection in your life that's more memory than reality? Maybe it's time to take a page from Mike's book and choose your peace. So, why does this Stoic approach to relationships really matter? It's simple, yet profound. The people you choose to surround yourself with have the power to shape your entire life. They're not just background characters. They influence your mood, coloring your days with joy or weighing them down with stress. They sway your decisions, nudging you toward choices that align with their energy, whether that's growth or stagnation. And they guide your path, either lighting the way with encouragement or casting shadows that make it hard to see where you're going. Choosing relationships wisely isn't just about dodging drama or sidestepping conflict. It's about crafting a life that's rich, meaningful, and a true reflection of who you are at your core. It's an investment in your well-being, a deliberate act of building a world around you that supports your highest potential. Imagine the difference it makes when you're with people who genuinely respect you, who see your worth and honor it with their actions. Picture being surrounded by those who support you, cheering you on during challenges and celebrating your victories as if they were their own. Think of friends or loved ones who inspire you, sparking new ideas and pushing you to stretch beyond your limits. When you're in that kind of company, it's not just about feeling happier, it's about feeling unstoppable, like you can tackle anything life throws your way. Stoicism hands you the tools to make these choices with clarity and courage. It's not about wielding some harsh judgment or cutting everyone out of your life with a cold heart. No, it's about loving yourself enough to say, I deserve connections that make me better, that lift me up instead of holding me back. That self-love is the foundation of this approach, and it's a powerful shift. When you start applying this Stoic wisdom, something incredible happens. It creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond you. Your peace becomes a beacon, inspiring others to seek their own calm. Your strength becomes contagious, encouraging those around you to stand taller in their own lives. Your relationships deepen, growing into bonds that are rooted in mutual respect and shared growth. And as you surround yourself with people who reflect your highest values, integrity, kindness, resilience, your life begins to mirror those ideals. It's like tending a garden. With care, you cultivate an inner circle that blooms with growth and joy, a space where you can thrive and flourish. Imagine that for a moment, a life where every interaction feels like a breath of fresh air, where your days are filled with people who bring out the best in you, and where your energy is spent on what truly matters. This is what we're building here together. It's not an overnight transformation, but a journey of intentional steps, guided by Stoic principles. The people you choose to keep close aren't just companions, they're co-creators of the life you lead. So let's keep pushing forward, choosing wisely, and watching as our lives become richer and more aligned with who we're meant to be. What's one relationship you can nurture today to start that ripple effect? Let's make it happen. We're almost at the end of this video, but let me tell you, this is just the beginning of your Stoic journey. What we've talked about today isn't a one-and-done fix you can check off your list and move on from. Stoicism is a lifelong practice, a way of living that you weave into your days, step by step, choice by choice. It's about showing up consistently, with intention, to build a life that's grounded in tranquility, purpose, and unshakable inner strength. So, let's not stop here, let's keep this momentum going. Start small, pick just one tool from the Stoic toolkit we built today and put it into action before the day's over. Maybe it's grabbing a notebook to journal about a relationship that's been weighing on your mind. Pour your thoughts onto the page and see what clarity emerges. Or perhaps it's time to have an honest conversation with someone you care about, speaking with clarity and empathy to address something that's been off. Every single step you take, no matter how small it seems, is a stride toward a life that feels more peaceful, more aligned with your values, and more deeply purposeful. That's the beauty of Stoicism. It meets you where you are and grows with you. If you're feeling inspired and want to dive deeper into this philosophy, I've got some recommendations to fuel your journey. Start with the Stoics themselves. They're like wise mentors waiting to guide you through their words. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations is a must-read. It's like sitting down with a thoughtful friend who's been through it all, sharing raw reflections on how to live with virtue and calm. Then there's Epictetus's Enchiridion. It's short, punchy, and packed with practical wisdom that cuts straight to the core of what you can control and what you can't. Seneca's Letters are another gem, offering down-to-earth advice you can apply to everyday challenges, from handling stress to staying true to yourself. If you're looking for a more modern take, Ryan Holiday's The Daily Stoic is fantastic. It breaks down Stoic ideas into daily reflections and exercises, making it easy to weave this philosophy into your routine. These resources aren't just books, they're companions for building a life of meaning, and I can't recommend them enough. I'd love to keep this conversation going with you, so let's connect in the comments. Drop a note below and share your story. What's a relationship challenge you're facing right now? Or maybe there's a time you let go of a connection and found growth on the other side. I'd love to hear about it. Your experiences can inspire others in this community, and I'm here to support you along the way. If this video spoke to you, if it gave you a new perspective or a nudge to take action, give it a thumbs up. It helps the channel grow and reach more people looking for this kind of wisdom. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and check out the playlist on your screen for more Stoic insights to keep your journey going strong. We're in this together, walking this path side by side, and I'm so excited to keep exploring with you. Let's keep learning, growing, and applying these lessons. Your next step is waiting, and I can't wait to see where it takes you. Let's bring this journey to a close with some final thoughts to carry with you as you move forward. Take a moment to really sit with this idea. Relationships are the heartbeat of your life. They're not just casual connections or passing moments. They're the rhythm that shapes who you are right now and who you'll become in the future. Every friendship, every partnership, every family tie leaves its mark, influencing your emotions, your decisions, and the path you walk. They're like threads in the tapestry of your life, weaving together the story of your growth, your struggles, and your joys. But here's a truth Stoicism gently nudges us to accept. Not every connection is meant to last forever, and that's perfectly okay. Some people enter your life for a chapter, bringing lessons, laughter, or even challenges that help you grow, but their role might not be permanent. Others will stay by your side through the years, evolving with you as you both chase a life of meaning. Recognizing this ebb and flow isn't a loss. It's a natural part of the journey. Stoicism teaches us to approach relationships with intention, to be deliberate about who we let into our inner circle. It's about holding tight to the connections that lift us up, those people who inspire us, support us, and make us feel seen, the ones who bring out the best in us and make our hearts lighter. At the same time, it's about finding the strength to let go of what holds us back, those relationships that drain our energy, dim our light, or pull us away from our values. But here's the key. Letting go doesn't mean bitterness or resentment. Instead, the Stoics encourage us to release these connections with gratitude for the lessons they taught us, the growth they sparked, and the clarity they brought. It takes courage to walk away, to say, "This isn't serving me anymore," but that courage is a gift to yourself. It's a step toward a life that's more aligned with your peace and purpose. Every relationship, whether it lasts a lifetime or a fleeting moment, is an opportunity to practice the Stoic virtues that guide us to a good life. There's wisdom, using clear, honest eyes to see people and dynamics for what they are, not what we wish them to be. There's courage, making those tough calls, whether it's setting a boundary, having a hard conversation, or choosing to step away from a connection that's no longer healthy. There's justice, treating others with the respect they deserve, even when you're parting ways, ensuring your actions reflect fairness and kindness. And there's temperance, staying balanced, not letting emotions like anger or guilt cloud your decisions, but acting with calm and clarity. When you apply these virtues to your relationships, you're not just navigating them, you're mastering them, turning each interaction into a chance to live more fully as your best self. By choosing your inner circle with care, you're doing more than just protecting your peace. You're building a life that's a true reflection of who you aspire to be. The people you surround yourself with become mirrors, reflecting your values, your growth, and your joy. When those mirrors show you respect, inspiration, and love, your life starts to shine with the same qualities. So, here's my challenge to you. Take one step today toward that vision. Reflect on a relationship that's been on your mind. Journal about how it makes you feel, whether it aligns with your growth. Or maybe it's time to set a boundary, to say no to something that's been draining you. Perhaps you're ready for an honest conversation with someone you care about, speaking with clarity and empathy to strengthen your bond. Whatever feels right for your tranquility and growth, do it. You have the wisdom to see what needs to change, the strength to make it happen, and the heart to do it with kindness. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me on this Stoic journey. It's been an honor to explore these ideas with you, to dive into how we can build relationships that light up our lives. This isn't the end, it's a beginning. Keep practicing these principles, keep growing into the person you're meant to be, and keep choosing connections that bring you joy and peace. Until we meet again, stay stoic, stay strong, and know that I'll be cheering you on. Drop by the comments or catch me in the next video. Let's keep this conversation going. Peace to you all.